Hello and welcome back to my lovely living room. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out my groovy little upcycled house tour video. I'll put the link down below for that. If you have already watched it, then you probably noticed the living room is lacking a little bit of personality in this corner, except for my groove-tastic trash to treasure chair right here. I'll put the link below to that as well. So when Photowall from Sweden contacted me and said, hey, we want to send you some cool wallpaper photo wall stuff, I said, yes, please, and it has just arrived. So yeah, let's liven up this corner, give it some groove-tastic German personality, and see how everything comes together.
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.
So now comes, the favorite part of all of these videos, the unboxing. Let's see what I got. Now here, I'm guessing this is the actual photo mural. And yeah, because I lived in Berlin for like nearly a decade and, actually kind of got married to someone from there, and my kiddo was actually born there, we decided we would get the map of Berlin, and it is very colorful and very, very cool, as you can see, and it's brilliant with loads of orange, which perfectly matches our fantastic orange curtains that came over to Toronto with us from Berlin. What else is in here? Let's see. The wallpaper paste, awesome. And I also got all of the tools needed, which is fantastic. So we have the brush, pencil, cutter, the seam ruler thingy-madooey to, make sure everything gets on the wall. Another brush for smoothing, and this thing. I have no idea what this is called, can't remember. But yeah, kind of like a squeegee that you smooth down all the edges. So let's get started cutting the pieces up, and let's get it up on the wall. Now, of course, Photowall is awesome, and they have pre-numbered each piece for you. It conveniently shows you where you need to cut everything, so all you got to do is unroll it and cut it. So here's a quick tip. Make sure you are actually putting the panels on in the right order. Because our panels here are starting from the right going left instead of left to right, we were super duper clever and we started with number 1 instead of number 5. So yeah, now we've had to very carefully remove number 1 because it should be on the other end, and start again with number 5. So yeah, quick tip for you. Okay, it's time for the big reveal, and it is amazing to walk up the stairs now, and look at how fabulous that looks. Not even in the room yet, and it is definitely stunning. I mean, come on. It looks magnificent with all of our vintage and upcycled furniture, our trash to treasure finds, and this fantastic frame that we put up around the entire thing is made out of some scrap wood trim baseboards that were, just left in our garage. So fantastic. We just cut them to size and nailed them up with some little finishing nails. But I mean, that is absolutely gorgeous. It is a fantastic backdrop for pictures now, and yeah, really adds some personality to this room and looks fabulous with those groovy orange slider curtains that we brought from Germany. So as I mentioned before, I did live in Berlin for nearly a decade, which is why I chose this map of Berlin. Now, I thought it would be kind of fun to share a few of the hilarious happenings that, I experienced while I was there. So without further ado, here's 3 of them. Now, shortly after our daughter was born, we were doing our morning routine very early when suddenly all of these sirens started going off, and it was like, I mean, all of these sounds that I had never ever heard before. It was insane. And there was like, the street was full of army and police, and there was blockades, and it was like, oh my God, what is going on? And then, so we went to the window, we're looking out, and there was, police there, or Polizei, with loudspeakers, and they were basically letting us know there was construction going on down the block from us. And they had uncovered a bomb, an unexploded bomb from World War II, and our entire neighborhood, like a 10-block radius, had to be evacuated. They were then buzzing all of the flats in the whole neighborhood, and everybody was supposed to be evacuating. And now I was freaking out, being the Canadian that I am. I'd never experienced anything like that. Meanwhile, the father of my child was just kind of continuing to make coffee, and like this was normal. At that point, I had already been living in Germany for, I would say, about 4.5 years, and this was absolutely not normal to me at all. This had never happened. And I was saying, look, we have to go. The army is telling us to leave. The police are telling us to leave. I'm packing up the baby, who was very new at this point. And he was just like, nah, we're bleiben here. No, we're gonna stay here. Das ist kein Problem. It's not a problem. Don't worry about it. And so I was literally cowering in our bedroom, terrified that we were gonna be arrested or something for staying in our flat. And then he was like, look, no one else is leaving. You don't hear anyone on the stairs. Nobody's doing anything. He went online and found out that the bomb had actually been discovered yesterday. So if there really was a huge major threat, it kind of should have happened the day before. Long story short though, it was very exciting, and I now have this rather hilarious story that, I can tell to my kiddo. We have the newspaper article and everything, so yeah. Another time, the city was replacing all the tram tracks in our neighborhood, which is great because we got all nice, cool, modern trams and everything then. However, it did mean a lot of construction was going on, and because we did live on a rather main road, we got a lot of the noise. So, you get used to it after a while, and we basically ignored it. Until one day, there was all of the jackhammering and banging and pounding going on, and it just suddenly stopped immediately and was replaced by all of these gruff German voices yelling, stop, 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 stop. And so ran to our living room windows, peeked out of the curtains, and where the tram kind of was crossing, they had dug up half of the road in order to replace the tracks. Makes sense. Of course, there was signs literally everywhere. Like everywhere. Even pedestrians, we couldn't walk there. Obviously, cars were well aware, or they should have been. Now, apparently what had happened is, keep in mind, half of the street is missing. It's like a hole. It's missing. It's gone. So a driver had come from the other end of the block, turned down this half a street, and somehow managed to get quite a long ways down the road before falling in. Probably because it was a rather small car. But basically, yeah, the car was half in this hole. And so we we were watching this, you know, and giggling and laughing because, I mean, it was clearly marked everywhere. There was like 50 construction workers. They're all working. How could you possibly miss this? Well, finally the construction workers managed to help the driver out. And when we saw the driver, I mean, I was incredibly shocked because at the time I didn't realize that German driver's licenses never expired. Like if you got your license in, you know, 1951, you still had that license in 2012, 2013. I mean, that's you change a bit over the years, I think. And in North America or Canada anyways, you know, it's every 5 years you renew your license, you do your little eye test, and they make sure that you kind of can still drive, I guess, so that, you know, your eyes are fine, your ears are fine. Not so in Germany, because the driver was literally carried out and turned out to be a very, very elderly gentleman on double crutches, like double crutches. And I mean, and obviously he could not see very well because there was signs everywhere. Anyway, luckily the construction workers did manage to, through their own brute strength, simply lift the car up and get it properly back on the street again. And yeah, all ended well. I really do hope that once the police came, that they did realize maybe this very elderly man on double crutches who maybe couldn't see very well shouldn't have his driver's license anymore. But yeah, thankfully that law has since changed. Maybe that's why, I'm not sure. But it's not, I mean, it's changed, and that's a good thing. So now in Germany, your driver's license lasts 15 years before you have to renew it, which I still think is kind of a long time. I mean, a lot can happen in 15 years just in how you physically change, let alone if, you know, your eyes aren't good anymore, you lose your hearing, etc., etc. But it's progress. So every time summer rolled around in Berlin, I knew I would be able to enjoy American days at the supermarket. Now, this happened usually about twice in the summer, where they would have a week of American Days food. And there is a company, McKennedy American Way, I believe the product is called. And they have this entire line of food that is packaged in red, white, and blue. And I'm guessing this is what Europeans think that Americans eat. And, you know, having been to America more than a few times and, you know, being Canadian, it's actually, some of it isn't that far off. There was things like American salad sauce, which I'm not really sure what it was. I never got it. It kind of looked like a cross between mayonnaise and mustard, maybe mixed together. They did have actually a product where it was mayonnaise and ketchup together in a bottle, so it was vile. But yeah, they did have original kanadische Ahornsirup, which is original Canadian maple syrup, under the American Way label, Canadian maple syrup. And it wasn't too bad. I mean, there did seem to be a lot of sugar added to this already very sugary original kanadische Ahornsirup. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of things that I actually stocked up on during this time. The sausages in a jar were not very appetizing looking, and that was actually something that was quite German anyway. I mean, sausages in a jar, you can find them anywhere, but they would slap that American Way label on it, and I guess it made it American. They did have pre-bagged hamburger and hot dog buns, but I don't know why you would ever want to eat those when Germany is so full of gorgeously delicious, nutritious, wonderful homemade bread. Bakeries are everywhere and it's very, very cheap. Speaking of supermarkets though, you know, shopping in a foreign country, in a foreign language is quite funny. And here's just one example. There was a chocolate drink, and it's probably still there, I'm sure it is, called Shove It, but it says shove it to me. So that really was like a, I was like, what is this? Basically, again, the German language doesn't really translate well when read directly in my English-speaking brain at the time, and it was a mixture of Schoko for chocolada or chocolate and vitamin for vitamins. So supposedly this was vitamin-packed chocolate milk powder. So do let me know if you would love to hear any more tales of my world living adventures. You know, I spent over 22 years living and working abroad in Japan, Greece, England, and Germany. So I do have quite a few stories to tell. All of them pretty darn amusing, I think. I mean, at the time, some of them were not at all amusing, but looking back now, it's, you know, hilarious. And as always, be sure to check out my groovy adventures in upcycling on my Confessions of a Refashionista site. I will also put the links down below to my Life in Germany posts. And yeah, you can check those out. Yeah, until next time, I'll catch ya on the zigzag.